Hey, everybody. Welcome to another edition of Gruber Wired Hour. My name is Mark Beach.
I am John Dotson, and thank you and welcome once again.
Yes, 100,000.
100,000 plus. We're at, what, 111,000 now?
Yeah,
sneaking up there.
It goes up fast.
It does, and that's thank you to everyone out there who has subscribed, liked, and shared. So continue to do so. We appreciate it.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so it's warming up here in Phoenix. So, we talked
Getting
about last time.
hot.
Hey, people, keep drinking your water. Stay hydrated.
Yeah, it's supposed to. They say next Monday, maybe first triple digit.
Yeah, 100 degrees by Monday.
We'll take it. We'll take it. It's time.
What do you mean we'll take it?
We don't want it. Not yet.
It's time. It's time. I lived here 1 year. It was 100 degrees in March. So
what was last year's record? We did. Was it 100? Was it over 100 for 60 days? Or was it over 110 for 60 days?
It was over 110, I believe, for 60 days. You could probably Google it really quick. But
yeah, not straight though, not consecutive, but the most 110 degree days.
No, I'm pretty sure it was consecutive.
Well, consecutive, I
believe,
know we hit in the 20s for sure. And
yeah,
we lost count afterwards.
20s, okay.
But that's hot. But the problem is it doesn't cool down in the evening when it's that hot.
Right.
And then you don't seem to get that sense of relief unless you're in some AC.
Right.
Eating snow cone.
It's not so much that it's 100 during the day or whatever it is during the day. It's what's the temperature at 10 p.m.
Yeah, 10 o'clock at night, still 99 degrees outside.
So the longest stretch was 31, and then that was set from June 30th to July 30th. And then for greatest number of 110 days or more was 53 in 2020.
Wow. I'm seeing 54 by PBS here, but yeah, it was a lot.
I remember 2020. It had the most 100 degree day, most 95 degree days, 100, 110, 115.
Yeah, so let's break that record this year.
All
let's
in 2020. Yeah.
Yeah, we can break that, right?
That's one record I'm okay with
Yeah,
not breaking.
no. Let's have a nice mild summer this year. How about that?
Yeah, so I do remember years ago they got to the point where it was so hot that they actually closed the airport for a while because it was too hot to get lift for the planes to take off tarmac.
Well, they thought.
Yeah, so they thought.
Yeah, right. Here we go.
Here we go.
You'd rather sit in water than drink it. It's a dry heat.
They say it's a dry heat, and I'm telling you what, it's wet. I'm still sticky. I don't know about you? It is different from being in humidity, of course.
Oh yeah, no,
it's a lot different, but still, it's hot.
Look, Atlanta or North Carolina, when it gets to be 90 degrees, 90% humidity, that's no joke.
No,
you can't dry off.
It's like walking into a sauna.
Yeah, forget it. I called that air you can wear.
Air you can wear. Love it.
Yeah, that's not a good place to be.
No, things are going good here, though, Gruber. It's been a great week. Lots of good stuff going on. One of our coworkers, we'll give him a shout out, Bob. He's out there on vacation in Cabo, enjoying himself on the beach, I'm sure. So,
yeah, Bob.
Thank you, Bob.
We're going to be happy to have you back on Monday because
Mark will be happy.
I haven't gotten anything else done.
Yeah,
he's been though.
Taking care of Bob there for a while.
That's all right.
Thank you for stepping up, Mark. We appreciate it.
You do the same, so it's easy to do.
Yeah, that's one of the perks of working here is we have each other's backs every day.
100%.
And that goes between departments as well. So thank you once again to all the Gruber employees. We appreciate it.
Right, got to make sure our customers are taken care of regardless of what's going on.
Exactly.
That's it.
Yeah. So industry-wise, things are perking up. I know we've seen just hearing temperature from around the country of what's taking place through different regions. Starting to see more infrastructure taking place in regards to data centers and laying a lot of fiber, especially out here.
Right.
I know that a lot of fiber has been taking place and being laid over in Scottsdale, North Phoenix. So we're starting to see a lot of that upgrade in infrastructure with new build.
Yeah. It's and as we talked about in a previous show, the consolidation of sizes of cabling too, with the MTP, MPO connectors, so 12 fiber, 24 fiber connectors, instead of the single strand LC, ST, SC.
SC, that's correct. And then advancements in copper as well. They're still finding ways to continuously use copper cabling and advance theirs.
Yeah, that's not going anywhere.
No, it's around. It's going to stay around.
Yeah. And Cat 3 is still around, so
it is. I live in a neighborhood that was built in the 1960s, so we still have that underlying 1960s infrastructure. I don't see us ever changing that.
How do you game with that?
It could be difficult at times.
Yeah.
No, it's not so bad because you can do a lot within your own home using the technology to boost signal and and so forth.
Yeah, but that doesn't help with like latency.
We still have latency. My grandkids complain about that all the time, and people coming over.
Kind of a disincentive, isn't it?
A little bit. So, but there is some of that. But then, like I said, the growth that we're seeing in the outlying areas and new urban growth is where we're seeing a lot of that new technology take place and infrastructure that will be there for the next 40, 50 years or even more.
Right. And they are doing it constantly, running into, massive cable runs, where they're installing fiber in network in neighborhoods.
And
so
the construction right now is crazy here in Phoenix, especially. I'm seeing a lot of construction going up, and where I'm seeing that is all in the commercial industry.
Yeah,
I don't see so much in the residential right now, but if you're driving around town, you're going to see just a lot of commercial infrastructure taking place. Warehouses going up, new infrastructure. In fact, Taiwan Semiconductor is going to put a third manufacturing plant here in Phoenix.
I heard that.
So that's just great news. It brings a lot to the table for us here in Phoenix.
Well, there's a massive data center being planned too out west of the valley. It's hundreds of thousands of square feet.
Yeah, and so just amazing stuff going on there. Not to also the jobs it brings.
Right.
To our
Intel
local
too.
economy. Intel, yeah.
Yeah, they just got I don't know if it's all the way gone through yet, but I think they just did $8 billion, and Biden is taking credit for that, of course, obviously. But the government is investing in chips apparently too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's the wave of the future. That's where we need to be. We need to be able to manufacture these chips so we have them domestically here.
Right. Instead of relying on.
It's time to rely
Taiwan.
on ourselves.
Yeah.
Well, the other interesting side note.
Yeah.
You know that the Taiwan Semiconductor and then NVIDIA, the two CEOs of those companies are cousins, and they're both from Taiwan, even though they're here. Yeah.
Wow.
Interesting. So yeah.
And the other question I have for you is what do you think about the coyotes?
That's right. The coyotes are moving to Salt Lake City.
Yep.
Yeah. So, but technically, we're going to keep the coyotes because we get to keep the naming rights. Correct.
Right. And if my sources are correct, there is expansion on the horizon, and we will have a new team. Great. Which probably will be the Coyotes, kind of like the Cleveland Browns, That's kind of...
Wait, so they scrapped... wasn't that the whole thing? They were building a new stadium for them? Or
yeah,
no?
but I think they're still bidding on that land.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, I think the current owner is selling the team, and then he is going to get a new franchise.
Yeah, which will be great. We'll reinvest in that and have some hockey back here in the desert. Yeah.
The tentative deadline is like 28. 2028, yeah.
That'd be cool. We used to go to some hockey games. I'll tell you what, it's nothing like it. It's a lot of fun in person. I'm not a huge hockey fan, but to go to a couple of games throughout the season and just sit back and enjoy, they put on a great show.
Yeah, it'd be really nice if they had that season during the summer.
Yeah. Right.
One of my favorite things to do as a kid was get out on go to Metro Center at the ice skating rink there, and
yeah, that's another thing taking place. I've been there. When I first came to town, had the Camelot music store there where I was working, and they had the ice skating rink right out there.
Right.
And you see a lot of people enjoyed that at the time. But like everything else and how times change, we're seeing the downsize of malls, I guess you'd say.
Yeah.
So Metro Center is no longer.
Right.
And it's going to be replaced here, and they're going to start building a whole new complex over there.
Yes.
So, yeah.
That's the true thing.
Stuff. And who knows? Maybe we'll see another ice rink come in. I know we have a few around the Phoenix area.
Right. Yep.
So
yeah, I mean, it's for a hockey team leaving, it's a pretty good, decent hockey town when it comes to they just 28 years and one playoff game, one playoff.
You got to produce, or whatever. Right?
I mean, that's just not.
I mean, you have
doesn't
fans,
inspire. Let's buy a ticket.
Yeah. Right.
So yeah.
But we on the flip side now we have the Suns in the playoffs.
Yes.
You know, for Phoenix. So
what's your prediction?
My prediction is they're going to win it all. I'm going to say that, of course, but I think they'll go deep into round 2, maybe 3.
Okay.
You know, I could see that.
Yeah.
3 and out.
You think 3 and out?
Yeah.
3 games and out, or
Yeah, it's a first. I'm a little behind because I've been following baseball and football draft, but isn't the first round? Isn't it best of 5? So
yeah.
yeah, I think they're gonna get swept.
You think?
Really?
Whoa!
That's my prediction.
I was putting out
This team
there.
has so much talent, but they just place. It's like, man, wake up, let's go, come on.
Maybe it's all an act, and they're going to kick it into gear.
God,
They
I
just
hope
don't want
I'm
anybody-
wrong.
Just don't want anybody to prepare or see them coming. What do you think?
Nah, I don't know. It'll be
Conspiracy
interesting.
minds unite.
I don't know, but we do have the Cardinals in line to win it all next year. So if the Suns don't do it, we know the Cardinals will. They'll deliver for us this next year.
I admire your faith. I'm just, I'm ready for the D-backs to kick it into gear. Of course, we need a bullpen. Honestly, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that bullpen's brutal.
It is brutal.
I'm a
It's-
Cubs fan. We went to the Cubs game, and yeah, man,
Did you go to the 12-11 game?
No, I went to the first one where they went
Okay.
over or they went to extra innings as
innings.
well too.
Yeah.
But I'm pretty sure right now I could stand in the box and get a hit off of Castro,
Right.
And Magoo.
Frias.
My dad calls the other guy Magoo.
Huh.
Yeah.
You know, interesting fact. Speaking of baseball, one of our salespeople here, Audrey, a few years back, actually helped in working and selling the products that they put in for the new upgrades in telecommunications to the dugouts.
Okay.
You know, so that was a big.
Yeah, I think we
contract that
talked
she
about
worked-
this
yeah,
in one
I
of
mean,
our earlier podcasts.
Yeah.
And if you ever see the call to the bullpen,
Yep,
think of Gruber.
that's right.
There you go.
So a little shout out to Audrey there. Thank you, Audrey. You know, Major League Baseball says thank you.
There you go.
Don't we have a contract with the Phoenix Suns as well?
I don't know for sure if it's a contract, but I know that we do some cabling for them. That's why we have the
Purple
purple and
cables.
orange.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So,
Definitely cool.
yeah, very good stuff. So we're going to get into some of the meat and potatoes of what we brought to the table today. We're going to continue on from what we were talking about last week and how technology is bringing up and changing the world that we live in. Really quick, though, Kim had sent us a few things here. Says, I remember when I was about 9, frying an egg on the sidewalk waiting for the ice cream man. That happens. Last year, Veronica, who works with us, she was making car cookies. This is a thing. She had a frying pan, a pan, and she put the cookies on there, took cookie dough, and put it up in the dash of the car. And in the afternoon, she brought us in fresh baked cookies.
Bonus, your car smells like baked cookies.
Yeah, and they were warm and gooey. Yeah, good stuff.
Wow. That's pretty nice.
Yeah. And that leads right into what Kim was saying. Teamwork makes the dream work. And that is so true.
Yeah, I think she's referring back to, the Bob thing and, just covering for everybody when they're out or on vacation or whatever. Yep.
I'm referring to Veronica making us all cookies. I hope she does it again this year. So Veronica, keep up the good work, and we'll take some chocolate chip cookies here in about a month or two.
There you go. Ready to go.
So, Jesse, if you want to pull up number 10 to start with, we're going to talk a little bit about introduction into augmented renewable energies. And so we all know there's renewable energy sources out there, right? So it's a matter of taking the knowledge that we have already in place and then taking technology and kind of just stepping it up using AI to see where AI can change that renewable energy and using algorithms be able to come up with a more complex picture of how we can make a difference.
Right. So is that like, see, I keep getting these things from APS.
Yeah.
And they want basically to take over my thermostat, which I'm not letting them do.
No, not mine either.
Yeah, I know. I'm like, I don't care how smart you are. I got that thing dialed in.
Yeah.
I have my schedule dialed in, and my bill comes out to exactly what I expect it to be. And Mr. Planner over here, budget every little thing for 12 months.
Yeah,
you got to be
budget
able
in there.
Yeah, that's it.
I keep ours set at 72 degrees across the board at home.
Day and night.
Day and night, 72. It just there you go.
You want to know what are you on a saver plan or no?
No.
Okay.
No.
You want to know what I do?
What?
Okay. Here's the real deal. So my saver plan is from it's the peak energy rate is between 4 and 7.
Okay.
4 and 7 p.m. Right. It used to be 3 and 8.
Mm-hmm.
So my thermostat's still programmed for 3 to 8. But what I do is at night I get it down to 68. Right.
Okay.
And then the hour before, so from 2 to 3, it gets set to 67. And then it gets turned off for that 5-hour period.
Okay.
And it never gets above 79 degrees in the house. You know why? Because when you cool stuff down in your house, you're cooling everything. You're cooling all the furniture.
Correct.
You're cooling the walls. You're cooling the floor, everything. So when, people, play around with their thermostat and they do all that kind of nonsense, they have to play catch up in order to do that. And you keeping it at 72, all your stuff in your house is that temperature.
Yeah, it just stays there. And the benefit that I have and why it works with us is we have a flat roof home. So we don't have an attic space that we're heating.
Right. Cooling.
So, cooling, yes.
Yeah.
Sorry, heating in the winter, cooling. But anyway, that is a tremendous savings alone.
Sure.
So for us, we don't see that fluctuation nearly as much as other people do.
Right.
And that's where, we start talking about renewable energy and using the I can't even talk today, augmented algorithms. And then we start looking at things where solar can come in and help.
Right.
We see a lot of solar out here because we live in the Valley of the Sun.
Right.
There are some issues with solar. I'm not going to say there's not, but we're starting to see those get a little bit better, as they're creating those.
Well, I'm all for, trying to figure out best tech. I'm just not for government mandates of it.
Agreed.
Right? Yep.
Agreed.
that's just where I come down.
Let the private sector work that out,
Absolutely.
and it'll come through. And again, with the, working with the AI, which will now take a look and get more rapid response and paint a different picture.
Right.
And see what we can do with those resources.
Man, I want to go into a tangent so bad.
Oh, let's hear it.
I'm gonna hold back.
Are you? Why?
Let it go, Jesse.
Why start now, Jesse?
Well, it's just you have a pretty high expectation from society, especially from business owners that are trying to optimize their profits while keeping costs low, because it's oftentimes new technology, the setup and the install of new technology and the ongoing maintenance of new technology is a massive cost. So it's a lot cheaper for people to keep older tech running, and I don't think that's a good thing, especially if the government can help with incentives to get that installed.
You didn't hear anything out of my mouth that said that government shouldn't incentivize the right behavior. What you did hear me say is mandate.
Right, but if you don't mandate it, if you don't make it a requirement in certain areas, then you're going to have people sticking with the old technology for as long as they possibly can to keep it as cheap as they possibly can, and I don't think that's good for progress.
Well, incentivization should take a lot of that out of it, but mandating it removes incentivization. It really does, because how can you incentivize something you're mandating?
Well, I mean, I think we just have a different opinion anyway, because I think that having electricity and having running water and having a home should be provided anyway. I don't think we should have to compete for those things, or there shouldn't be competing companies providing those services.
So
I think it's a human right to be able to drink water and have honestly, I think the internet and the access to human knowledge is a right as well.
I haven't read the Little Red Book. Is it good?
It's all right. You don't think that's a reasonable thing to like
I
people
think
having
it
homes?
Sounds good, but in practice, it's like rent control in New York City. You ask people what they think about that. It's a matter of people have freedom. They don't have they have the ability of opportunity, the equality of opportunity, not the equality of outcome. That's just the way it is. I mean, it's not.
I agree. There are some things you need. You need water to survive. Okay, I get that.
Yeah,
all
and
right?
you can get it free anywhere. There's public fountains.
Yeah,
but,
I'm not disagreeing with that. I'm saying there are some things.
And even when
that
it's
we
hot
have to have.
downtown, any day during the summer, there are stands out there with free water bottles.
Well, I guess my question comes is who doesn't have access to these things already?
Right.
I'm not saying it's not having access, especially when it comes to what we're talking about, augmented AI, renewable energy. I think those things are going to enable society to get closer to where those things can be provided for free. If we have solar and we take it to its maximum potential where the maintenance cost is very low, it is the primary source where all of the funding is going. We're not still funding things like coal or other, and really I think we should get to nuclear. Solar is just an example because of the conversation we were on. But once we get to those renewable things, and especially once we get to sustainable fusion, things like that, that's when we can provide these things to people for free. And now it's not going to get there, though, in my opinion, if we keep it profit motive based and allow individual consumers that are trying to maximize, or business owners that are trying to maximize their profits to determine whether they get to charge people for electricity or not.
Well, but
we're just in that transition
electricity
phase,
is public.
though.
Electricity is a regulated utility, though. I mean, it's not. They cannot. Every rate plan that they have has to be approved by the Corporation Commission. They cannot, willy nilly just raise rates whenever they want.
Yeah,
they
that's
have to
a good
actually
thing.
cost justify it.
That's an example of government mandate. That's a good thing. That's my point.
Yeah, those are definitely good, but what I think the part of the conversation is we're in transition, right? These are new technologies that are coming aboard. We're learning how to work with them, correct? And now we have new features and a different approach to take a look at it and say, okay, now we have AI, which can go in here and give us a tool to increase or better where we're at now.
Right.
And so there's going to be some of this lag in that transition. We just can't stop
sure,
everything
yeah.
all at once and say, okay, here we go. Starting tomorrow, everybody is X, Y, and Z.
Right.
It doesn't work.
And you have to realize that all great leaps in innovation were as a result of pain.
Sure.
It was always a result of trying to solve a problem, trying to make something easier to do, more efficient. A lot of lazy people created some pretty cool stuff.
Yeah, but now
because they didn't want to do whatever that repetitive task was.
But
right?
what have we done? We now have this thing called AI. That AI is going to grow. We're going to learn more. But now we have a tool that can exponentially shift that forward for us. Right?
Maybe
it won't take the lag of a human being anymore to come up with those in that creative sense, right? So now we have, and I say tool because I use AI as a tool,
right,
in order to jumpstart the progress moving forward. So I think you're going to see this grow in leaps and bounds, especially in renewable energies, with the use of AI coming into play. That's going to give us the models and help give us, models and direction to go. Now, not every model is going to fit that mold, right? Yep. But it gives us the information needed to hopefully make the proper decisions moving forward, to get to that point.
Right. Well, I mean, AI to me is, it's a tool again, but it also takes out human creativity. And so you do not have a human being experiencing those creative moments that help them grow.
Well, we can still have that. Like I said, you can use it as a tool that's compatible with the human qualities and creative geniuses that are out there.
Right. But when you study, let's say you want to know everything there is to know about a particular subject, or you want to be conversant in a subject. Okay. And we do this, we print out AI stuff all the time. But if we were looking stuff up and putting it in a document, like placing it in there, okay, yeah, that makes sense. We'd be retaining at least a portion of what we were reading and making a decision to put in there, as opposed to AI deciding what the list is and then what do you know of it, unless you just have to read the whole thing and go, oh, well, that doesn't work.
I have one point for that. And I just did this yesterday with the new COM video that we're going to talk about later on. So we did that new 3D spectral processing video. And Pete had found that article on Freethink, which is really good, kind of like tech blog. And I grabbed that article And instead of reading the 5,000 words or whatever it was for the article, and potentially getting the reader's bias or potentially wasting some of my time, quite frankly, now that AI exists, I put that into ChatGPT. I had it break it down into its salient talking points, and I had it also break out each talking point and provide more background information and links to additional information for it. So I read that in about a third of the time that it would have taken to read the whole article, which again could have been potentially biased by the author. You never know, depending on who you're reading. We have an author that writes about us for Gruber Motor Company at Electrek that tends to skew things a lot of the time. Anyway, so it helped me increase my efficiency, and I still got all of the information. And then not only that, but I got all of the resources for each of the bullet points presented in it. So I think the tool, it's like you both are saying, it's how you use it. If you let it do the work for you, it could be a terrible thing. Just like if you're in college and you pay someone to write your essay for you, it's a terrible thing. But if you use it as a tool and you actually use it to enhance and increase your efficiency, it has immense power to do that.
Sure.
And I can see that. I mean, that's not anything new. Any college student knows about Cliff Notes, right?
Right. Yeah.
So, there's that. There was the For Dummies books, right? That kind of consolidated stuff.
Sure. Well, this is just speeding that up. Like, I guess the key term like we're all using is tool.
Right.
Used properly, use it as a tool to be able to get to where you need to be. It's just a vehicle.
Right.
And I think the more that we understand that and learn how to use it as a vehicle, the better off we're going to be.
Right. And what I'm talking about here is that it's great for supplying knowledge, but knowledge retention and not surface level knowledge is done through the research process.
Sure.
And not and all the Chat GPT stuff can help with that, but the person, in order to process it, has to compile it usually and really understand what they're doing in order to ask questions in the future. What was that thing that was there that left?
I don't know, but Highlander's hi Highlander.
Hey Highlander.
He says, "Hey gang, this is gonna be an awesome podcast." You are right. This is an awesome podcast every week.
And the thing that was on there before was my mistake.
Okay.
Instead of hitting Command C, I hit Command V.
I thought somebody was trying to tell us something there. And I agree. Fusion and nuclear are the future.
Definitely. Yeah.
Yep.
I mean, that's just the way it's going to go.
Everybody's
Now that
less
we're
afraid now than they were in the 60s and 70s about nuclear power plants when they were.
Listen, you take the fear out when you educate people, right? You want to get to the bottom of a lot of this and a lot of the fear. Education is the key.
What is
That's
that?
all it is.
Yeah. What is that, Harry?
Harry's packing a bag, I think. I can't tell.
Is
He's
that a
got
bag?
little
A
emoji
toolbox?
bag up
Like a
there.
toolbox.
The
I think,
toolbox.
Oh, I thought it was a robot.
Harry,
I don't know.
Harry's
Oh, it
trying,
could be.
Harry's trying to say you're a tool, dude.
Are you going to really, on air, you really want to go? I don't think you do. You're funny.
Let's
You're funny.
move on. I'm
You're
looking at
funny,
thing
John.
here.
John the Word Dotson.
This is the subject you want to talk about this week. Let's go to picture number 12.
Okay.
And we're going to skip that number 11 there. And we're going to start talking about solid state batteries. Yeah.
There we go.
The word. Yeah, thank you. Word.
She said number 12.
Yeah,
Yep.
number 12. Hey, you know what? I tried to catch some fog this morning. Missed. Yeah.
And we're going back.
I apologize right now, everybody, for that one.
We
I
just got shut down from YouTube now.
Yeah, they
No.
just shut us down. We got canceled.
Hey, that's a good dad joke. What do you want? What do you mean? Come on.
Yeah,
Yeah.
says you.
Says me.
Yeah,
Yeah. Says the father.
I understand.
Yeah.
All right, Padre.
Padre. Hey, we're getting into talking a little about sustainable solid state batteries. This is a subject that Mark is very passionate about.
Well, I liked the idea when I heard it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a great idea.
Yeah,
it
it
really
is, and it uses other materials, and essentially, I mean, conceptually, it doesn't use any fluid in it to conduct, the electricity and its
the electrodes.
Yeah, it uses materials only for the storage.
Yeah, and they're very flexible, my understanding of the materials that are used in this.
Right, and I think that it's still a developing technology for sure, but it's not flammable, which is good.
Exactly.
It has a lot of potential. From what I was reading, there's still some problems with what they call the intimacy of the connection between the anodes. Wait, I'm sorry. It's between the polarity device where the current flows, right? I'm not an electrician. I'm not an electrical engineer either. My brother could probably.
I know batteries work, right?
Right. But the fact is that these are safer. It's a safer technology than like lithium ion, where it has some combustibility.
Sure.
Yeah. So this is something that they're working on where it will eventually be the standard.
It will be. I mean, especially since they're talking about that these were developed to have a longer life cycle,
right?
And you get a lot longer fasting charging capability on these,
right?
And the charge itself lasts a lot longer than say a lithium-ion battery,
right? And so I know we talked about this in a previous situation podcast, but the recyclability right now of lithium-ion batteries is kind of
down
difficult.
There. Yeah.
So this material construction is reusable.
Yeah, and it's even compatible with all the renewable energy sources that are out there.
Right.
So
it's very eco-friendly.
Yeah.
Makes sense from a earth metal standpoint.
And the cost will, as anything else, it's new technology. So as time goes on, the cost will come down on this eventually, and it'll be very affordable to use. So we have something that is going to last longer, right? So we don't have to throw it away or dispose of it nearly as much as what lithium-ion batteries are right now.
Right.
And so we're saving in the long run once we develop this technology and get down to it.
Yep. I'm still all for the whole fuel cell stuff, where you get the reaction between the oxygen and the hydrogen, and the byproduct out the exhaust tank pipe is H2O.
H2O, yeah.
That's even more dangerous than lithium ion. You're talking about hydrogen fuel cells? Hydrogen.
Yeah,
hydrogen's is pretty rough. And just so you guys know, I think there's been an update since that info on the lithium. Redwood Materials is 95% recyclable in terms of metals recovered at this point.
Yeah, and I think life cycle here in Arizona are around 90.
Yeah,
nice.
Yeah, it's getting up there.
Yeah,
they're improving it. Yeah.
You're good. But see, Highlander agrees with me about your joke.
Hey, he says it's a heck of a joke. See,
I can. Yeah, it's dripping with sarcasm. I don't think that was an attaboy. Correct me if I'm wrong.
No,
there,
that's
Highlander,
an attaboy. Highlander's got my back. Yeah,
I need a crickets button.
Yeah,
crickets.
Right.
Oh.
I know. You need one of those little.
I need a soundboard or something.
Yeah, where sound effects machine where they, I think there's one you can buy. It's not expensive. It's like got 12 programmable buttons, and you can
I've
just.
seen that. Yeah.
They used to announce some football games and had that out there. Had "Welcome to the Jungle" on there, and a few other things, and just tee them up.
Just keeps on going.
Yep. Yeah, well, you can say. I think you should segue into the other thing about batteries, about lithium-ion batteries.
Oh, I'll see which one is that. That's around. Number 15, extending.
No,
the
it was number 3. No,
number 3 is moon
Number 15, extending lithium-ion battery life.
Oh, you're right.
Is that what you're talking about?
Yep. Sorry.
Oh, that's okay. No need to be sorry.
Well, I mean,
yeah, right. And this is what they were just referencing towards,
right?
How we are getting more life out of these lithium-ion batteries. And not only life, like you said, the recycle rate on it and being able to dispose of the materials properly.
Right.
I think the biggest issue that we're having is lithium-ion batteries are getting a little bit of a bad rap from the early days of the EVs, but they pack a big punch in a small package, whereas solid states and some other batteries, which are just as good, maybe even a little bit better than lithium battery, you can't squeeze them into a car.
Yeah, the density, energy density.
Yeah, but you can use them for storage. Like I think we're going to see a lot of Tesla fast charging stations that'll have battery backups be more solid state than they will be lithium.
Sure, I can completely see that. There's a need for that. I mean, it's going to go hand in hand. They're going to help each other out and be compatible with each other. With what's going on there with the technology.
Right. And so you had some tips on here for lithium ion battery use.
Yeah.
You want to talk about them?
Go ahead.
It says here that lithium ion batteries perform best when they are regularly partially discharged and then recharged, and avoid, if possible, deep charging. And that they, because it accelerates battery degradation, try to keep your battery charge levels between 20% and 80%.
Yeah. Yeah. And that, people probably notice on their cell phones, right?
Right.
The most. But we just had this issue too. It says avoid extreme temperatures. Didn't we just have an issue over the winter months where we had some pretty cool temperatures and people were getting stuck with their Teslas? Out there, they couldn't charge them. The batteries were just draining so fast because of the extreme
Not in Arizona,
blows.
but you're
Not
talking
here,
about,
but back east.
Yeah, it was most of them were figuring out that it was a preconditioning issue. And what you see a lot is people who have never driven an EV, they go and rent one, or they borrow one, or maybe they just bought one, and then all of a sudden an extreme temperature situation happens and they don't know enough about their vehicle that they have to precondition batteries before they hit a charger or before they go out. And so that's a lot of the problems that we were seeing, like in Chicago. That was the case. So a lot of the owners had no idea that they even had to precondition the battery in order to go and charge or drive.
What is that? What is involved in preconditioning?
So like with a Tesla, you can program it to where the battery will start warming itself and for an hour before you drive. And so the battery is nice and warm before you take off. And
or cooling, depending on the weather situation. It has to get to a certain, there's an optimal charging state for it, and it'll automatically get there one way or the other during that conditioning.
But there's a certain environmental condition that needs to be met first then.
So it'll still usually charge unless it's like below zero, like it was in that Chicago incident. But it'll still charge. It just won't be optimal charging most of the time. But even with Tesla specifically, as soon as you program in one of their things, did you say that already?
Yeah, it's like an app that you can go through on the phone and actually do it, or you can do it on the screen.
On the screen, yeah. And as soon as you choose a supercharger, it automatically starts preconditioning as you're going to that location. Yeah.
Oh, okay, that's cool. Now, what about the heat? We live here in the center of heat. What's the top level of heat for these particular batteries?
I'm not exactly sure what the top level is, but you'll see it here even with some of the ones that the managers drive and some of the other cars. They'll turn themselves on. You can hear them as you walk past them, preconditioning or keeping themselves into a safe range because, like you said, be like sitting there in the sun, be like 130 degrees or something, with asphalt heat and all that.
Yeah, it's not just 115 here. I don't think a lot of people realize that too. Especially if you're not from this area, in the heat island that we have a lot of asphalt here in Phoenix.
Yeah.
I mean, it's the concrete jungle that we live in.
Right.
And so that radiant heat is radiating up off that pavement all day long. So typically your vehicles, especially when you go to get them in the summertime, it's not uncommon to get in and your temperature gauge is reading 124, 126.
Right.
And so I can see a need for that.
Absolutely. Yeah. I know I've when Richard had his Tesla, I'd go out to go somewhere and it'd be on.
It'd be running,
at first I'd be like, hey man, left your car on. No, it's supposed to do that. Okay.
Highlander just said there. Yeah, it was Chicago in Canada. Didn't have an issue, and it is a preconditioning issue. So that kind of
Yeah, and the news just kind of ran with that. And,
Gotcha.
Yeah.
That's the news for you, right?
It was funny. One of the news places, I think it was CBS, I can't remember, in Chicago, but they said, yes, and his Tesla had to be towed away, and it was an SUV gas. It wasn't even a Tesla. It was kind of funny watching it. Yeah.
Hey, look at that. Highlander's got my back.
Well,
Boom.
wow. Okay,
Let's
so
see,
I just
who's
know
got your back? Take a look. Oh,
the world. The world has my back.
The Atlantic Ocean.
way back.
That's it. Funny.
So yeah, like you said, you're talking about the updating softwares, and it's just a lot going on with these. These little tips: limit to heat exposure, battery health monitoring. Now these all have systems in Teslas, right, that monitor that health.
Yeah,
And
well,
so,
a lot of them have the battery management system that also does a lot of that. All without you even having to really pay attention to it. But,
sure.
Yeah.
So yeah, good stuff there.
So what is Highlander talking about the Popular Mechanics 1957?
We'll have to take a look at it.
Yeah, I think Pete has that. I'll see if I can
Does he?
get it. I don't remember, but is that it? Okay. Yeah, we have it over here.
So I sent
Okay.
you guys on the hydrogen farm tractor.
You want to find
So
that?
look, hold
Aaron?
it over. Throw it on over here. Reach
Yeah.
over there, Mark.
Oh,
Look what we got here. This is from Highlander. He sent this to us?
Yeah, he sent it in a while ago.
I don't know if he sent in multiple ones, but I know that's the one that Cass was looking at the other day.
well, this is Popular Science. See here.
Oh, it's a popular site. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, you might have sent a couple of
Other
them.
mechanics,
Oh.
1957.
Yeah, I thought he did.
See here.
So they were talking
Claude might
about
have
this
the other
back in
ones.
1957, starting to do the research on hydrogen, and using it in farm situations.
Yeah, well, I mean, hydrogen is definitely
been
been
for a
in
while, yeah.
Use, yeah. Let me just make sure I'm getting this right here before I.
But we just haven't gotten to everyday practical use of it.
I think that the thing that people will know. Hold on one sec.
And I think they just had a release that the hydrogen fuel cell cars sales have been dramatically dropping off the last 2 quarters.
Have
Yeah, that they're really struggling trying to sell them.
But why is that? I wonder. Is it a cost issue?
Infrastructure.
Is it just infrastructure
there's
issue?
nowhere to.
Where are you going to find it, right?
Yeah, they're not hydrogen stations all over.
Yeah. But I am seeing EV stations everywhere. I see them used once in a while. I don't see them used as much as I thought they would be used. For the charging stations that are out there.
I think you're going to see an increase in them because a lot of the other cars are adapting the NACS.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
Okay.
So like my sister-in-law she has an Aria. Is that it? The Nissan Aria?
Mhm.
Yeah.
And so she's just waiting on an adapter for that so she can, use the
Charge
Tesla
it all
charging
on, yeah.
stations. Yeah.
Well, the other thing too that a lot of people don't realize is that a lot of people have the level 2 at their house. So
Sure,
if you just
okay.
plug in and if you get the charging system installed in your garage at home, you just charge it overnight. And you don't ever, unless you're driving more than 300 miles or 250 miles a day, which is not the
Norm,
average.
yeah.
Then you
You're
just
okay.
plug it in when you get home. You don't even have to go to a charger. Yeah.
Sure. But that's an additional cost people don't think about when they go out to, start thinking about purchasing an electric vehicle. What's the cost? What's the average cost of putting a charger in at your home? Is it like $3,000 to $5,000, something like that?
I know my sister-in-law, when they bought the house, they had one installed, and I think it was around like $800
Oh, okay.
or something. Yeah, they just did it to their electrical
I think
panel.
so.
So
dropped
that's
it
getting
through.
better than what it originally was. Yeah.
I'll ask Richard too. I think he just did one
Okay.
recently. So let's see if I can get that more.
Yeah, and again, as this technology becomes more cost effective, I mean, and using like where you're talking about using AI as a tool to find out what we can do to make this more cost effective and get the most out of it, I think you'll start to see more and more of the switch over.
right. I mean, definitely higher adoption breeds lower cost.
Sure,
Right.
sure, exactly. So, grab another subject. What do you want to talk about next?
I don't know. Let's see here.
I like
Yeah,
number 2.
One other thing, real quick too. The thing I was trying to look up for hydrogen,
Yeah.
the Hindenburg
Yes.
Wonderful hydrogen.
Okay, I will on next week's podcast bring the rebuttals on all that nonsense because
No, I'm sure hydrogen is good, and they're using it for buses. I think, actually in Chicago and a bunch of places they have.
Well, here they use the natural gas.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
Yeah, we have.
See, I like our light rail. I think the light rail is actually pretty good. I used to use it all the time when I lived in Mesa years ago.
Did you?
It's expanded a lot now too. It goes like from way far Gilbert, I think, all the way out to 19th over
now
here.
it's up to Metro. You can go all the way up to Metro Center.
To Metro, yeah.
Yeah, even though Metro Center is being torn down and rebuilding, they got that phase done, so you can take it all the way to there. And I believe the next is they're heading out towards Westgate. I know they were talking about going through the downtown Glendale, but that kind of got some pushback, of course, for putting it right through there. So not sure what avenue they're going to take or what streets are going to jet out there, but I know they want to get their way out to Westgate.
So that I think is investing in technologies like that. I think would be better than hydrogen. I think hydrogen is great and it still has very low emission, or the emission is in some cases just pure water, right?
Yeah.
But I think better public transit with
if you took all the dollars that got spent on light rail against the adoption of light rail, like the number of people, you could have bought them all nice cars and had money left over.
Yeah,
I mean, just saying.
Here's one of the logistic nightmares that we have here in Phoenix, right? Just Phoenix General itself. We have an awesome grid system.
Yeah.
It makes it very convenient to own a vehicle and to get somewhere here.
Right.
In this particular system that we have. So that's where the downplay comes in with public transportation, is because, wow, our system is so fluent that it's very, easy to use. There are a lot of cities, though, like you get up to Portland, Oregon, where you got one-way streets, you got this, you have up, down, you have obstacles, lots of terrain obstacles, where a public transit system makes sense.
Right. So I think it still makes sense here, because for me, for example, when I was in Mesa, I would take it to downtown to go to Banquet Ballpark or go to Chase Field, or I would take it to go to Tempe, where there's tens of thousands of people using that light rail, and you're just crammed in there like sardines. But that way you don't have to worry about driving, especially if you're going to like a sporting event, you're consuming alcohol or something like that, or there's just insane traffic because Tempe is a nightmare. Or downtown is a nightmare. So there are definitely still going to be use cases, I think, for it.
Oh, sure. There are always going to be use for it. But as far as it being a main transportation hub that most people would be using, I don't see it. Not in this format.
Right. It's mainly an east-west conduit. It's not a north-south conduit at all.
Yeah. Unlike, say, major cities and metropolitan cities like New York, where you have a subway, which is the main thoroughfare, to get through. So... Well, we got some more.
I believe in the comics, kryptonite is a source of lithium.
Nerd
What is
moment.
he talking about?
No.
Okay.
Go Superman, go. Highlander, I mentioned on other Gruber podcasts, I live between two major oil refineries, and yet the new gas stations are studying to put in electric pumps. Makes sense, right?
Right.
I'm good with that. And you mean by electric pumps, you mean, for electricity itself? Pull up in your Tesla?
EV pump stations. Yeah.
So,
I mean, as of right now, it is easier to fill up an electric vehicle than it is like a hydrogen. It's easier to get a fuel station installed too. I mean, you can essentially plop down a Tesla charging station, put up a solar, and you can actually, charge an EV. Where hydrogen, the infrastructure, you still have to hold that hydrogen. You still got to transport it. There's a lot of other moving parts.
I'm pretty sure you have to cool it too, right? I don't think it's just like gas where you can just have it.
Right.
Yeah, there's some steps and regulations that will have to be followed.
Well, let's talk to the folks that created the Hindenburg and ask them if they had
so if you drive behind a bus and you see CNG on it, that's a natural gas bus,
right? Yeah.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
So they're already doing, compressed gases in vehicles. It's just a matter of.
But do think you're getting to the point in time like Highlander suggested was talking about here, the studying of these stations. I think if you really want to get to a point where you're going to change the mind of the masses out there in public, guess what? Make it convenient like we have gas stations now. When I can take my electric vehicle, pull up at a station, okay, or someplace to charge, and I can get a full battery charge in 10 minutes.
Right.
That's economical to me, just as it is filling our vehicle now. But the way it is now, you don't have access to that across the board. There's
one
places,
of the things
but you don't have access to that.
One of the things it talks about, though, about the battery charging is it's rapid charging is bad for the battery.
I know, but they're going to...
Which is what, to Jesse's point, you want to, when you get home, is when you want to plug it in and put it in that mode and have it...
slower mode.
Yeah.
So one thing real quick on that, too, there's again, these updates, they happen so frequently too. Yeah. It's hard to know, but the LFP batteries, lithium iron phosphate, the newer type that Tesla's using, which actually has multiple good things. They're no more cobalt, which is potentially mined in conflict areas, right? So you're getting rid of that, and then it also has tested. Now they haven't been around long enough to know for certain in real world, but they've been tested in the lab under simulated conditions to go 300,000 miles with no degradation, and we're using fast charging.
Right.
So
that's
we're
getting there.
Yeah.
We're getting there then. Yeah.
And then we had somebody on the podcast that came and toured. It was the CEO of NXU. They're a charging company out in Mesa, and they're working on megawatt charging to where you will be able to get a full charge in 10 minutes.
In 10 minutes.
Nice.
Yeah. And that's where we need to be for the infrastructure.
Yeah.
And I think once we see that infrastructure come into play and put into action, I think you'll start to change the minds of people. But at the same time, too, what we need to see during that time, what you're seeing now is you got to get the cost of the vehicle down to where the general public feel comfortable making that purchase.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Not everybody can go and afford to go out and purchase an electric vehicle at this point in time. So when it becomes economical to be able to make a decision, as a consumer, wow, guess what? I can purchase this vehicle which uses unleaded fuel, or I can go with this electric vehicle. It's now we're in the same ballpark pricing, as far as pricing goes and the cost of it goes.
Right.
Now you're going to change I'm going to take a look.
Well, so that's why last year the Tesla Model Y was the best-selling vehicle in the world.
They're getting there.
Not just best EV. Best-selling vehicle in the world was the Model Y because it's in the 30,000s now with incentives, and then the Model 3 is also even lower than that.
Yeah. So I'm guessing when we start to see the infrastructure in place and we can see the electric vehicles down where they're in the $25,000 range, you'll see a lot more on the road. I think it'll get there. It's just a matter of time. We're working on it.
Amen.
Right?
Yeah, that's not bad. Well, so we want to make sure, folks, that you like, subscribe, and share this podcast. We're at 100,000 on our way to 1 million. So let's keep the train rolling.
And you know what caused it are my jokes. So next week I'll have another joke for you, and that'll boost us up even more.
I have nothing to say.
There's that moment for the crickets again.
Yeah. I can't even make a sound.
You're trying.
Yeah.
He's trying there.
What else
you want to talk about? We got a few moments left.
Yeah, you wanted to...
You want to show that new rant, or you want to talk some more about some of these? What would you like to do?
I don't know. Wasn't there a picture that you wanted to show?
Oh, yeah. Let's go to that. Hey, pull up the picture of the latest one I sent you before the show started, Jesse.
Okay.
Should be 1.1 pen. So he's like, I didn't get the email.
Oh,
there we go. Hey, look at that. Yeah.
These are new pens.
We have some new pens here.
We're giving them away.
Nice.
We are. So I'll tell you what, if you're out there and you're watching and you're listening and you would like a Gruber Communications pen, send us an email.
Right.
Mark, what is our email?
It is wired@gruber.com.
There you go.
Go ahead and show off that pen real quick in the close-up.
Look at that.
It's the Gruber Orange.
Nice.
But wait, there's more.
But wait, there's more.
You too can have a pen.
John will autograph it for you.
I will. I can take a Sharpie, I'll autograph this thing for you, and we'll get one out in the mail to you.
There you go.
Feel free to reach out if you would like a pen, and shoot us an email, and we'll follow up with you.
There you go.
Do I have to email, or can I just walk over to your desk and take one?
I'll be glad to get you one, Aaron.
Okay.
Yeah. I'll send a mail to you. I'll throw it in the mail, right?
Check's in the mail.
In the mail. So.
All right. Well, so did you want to do that?
Yeah, whatever we want to do.
The ramp?
Let's show the new rant. Why not? We'll end with that today.
Okay.
So, Pete released a new rant. We're going to get it on here and play through it, so you folks out there can take a look at it and enjoy as well. Yeah. So we'll talk a little bit about it after the fact.
We get to go from here to a vendor event tonight.
We're going down to the Phoenix Zoo to celebrate, what is it? Highland's 50th anniversary.
50th, yes. They're 10 years ahead of us.
They are, but we're going to catch them, right?
No, never.
Never?
Doesn't happen. That's kind of how it works.
Well,
you're always the older brother or the younger brother.
Well, not until we develop the flux capacitor, which Pete is working on, and Pete will have that soon too.
You're special,
you know. So,
all right. Well, we can keep vamping, I guess. There we go.
Oh, here we go. Look at that.
Mystery Science Theater.
That it is.
Black us out.
Is that a snowflake?
No.
What is that?
Good question.
Anyway, this rant is presented by Pete Gruber.
To the wireless communication, how it started, where it's headed, and a revolutionary new technology that's about to change everything. 3D spectral processors. Let's jump right in. Rewind a few decades, and our world was tangled in wires. Telegraphs, telephones, and the early internet all depended on physical cables. These methods were effective, but limited by physical connections and the inconvenience they brought. Fast forward to today, where wireless technology has taken the forefront. Inside every gadget we use, smartphones, laptops, tablets, is technology that turns data into radio waves, transmitting information through the air via Wi-Fi routers, cell towers, and even satellites. This shift has been monumental, enabling a leap from 17 billion connected devices today to an expected double that number by 2030. But this growth isn't without its challenges. Ever noticed your Wi-Fi slowing down at a crowded cafe? That's a small taste of frequency congestion. Too many devices, not enough room on the airwaves. The problem is similar to traffic on a busy highway. And just like adding more lanes to a road, we need to expand the radio frequency spectrum to accommodate more data traffic. That's where the game-changing technology of 3D spectral processors comes in. Unlike traditional flat processors that are limited to specific frequencies, 3D spectral processors operate in 3 dimensions. Developed by Rusba Tabrizian and his team, these processors can handle a wider range of frequencies, drastically reducing interference and boosting efficiency. What does this mean for the future? With these processors, everything from your smartwatch to autonomous vehicles will communicate more reliably, even in densely packed urban environments. Imagine a world where your devices are always connected. No glitches, no drops, just smooth, uninterrupted access. As we cut more cords and step into a wireless world, innovations like the 3D spectral processor ensure we stay connected efficiently and effectively. Thanks for tuning in. For more insights on the latest in tech and automotive advancements, make sure to hit that subscribe button and ring the bell for notifications. I'm Pete Gruber, and we'll see you on the next one.
All right.
Wow.
Yeah.
No, the reason because yes, this article was ran by Pete, but just so you're aware, intelligence everything across the. And take that in.
Yeah, that's impressive.
So yeah,
I had to remind myself that was AI when he was talking.
Yeah. So.
Okay, so hold on. We lost audio for some reason during that transition. So you want to repeat that about how it was used with AI real quick?
Okay, yeah. That last video that we just showed with the rant was used all 100% generated with artificial intelligence.
Yep.
Across the board.
The voice, all
of it. So like I was saying before, I urge all those watching and listening, go back and compare this to some of the previous rants that Pete has done. Take a look and listen, and just listen to the difference in texture of the voice, the tone, and just kind of see the difference between them. There's little nuances there.
Intonations.
Yeah,
yes.
Intonations, I guess I should say. But pretty cool stuff. And it's nice to see that we're at a place where AI can kind of be a useful tool in this objective.
Well, John, you are a useful tool. So,
According to Harry, you're the tool, man.
Tool time.
Highlander's
tool time
got
with
my
Mark.
back.
Yeah.
Highlander, thank you. See?
Well, we want to just remind you that upcoming May 17th is our special 40-year celebration. And so I know Janie and Nicole will be doing their podcast from 10 to 11.
Yep.
And then we'll be doing some
taking place.
Yeah, we'll be doing an extra stream, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Sometime after that, just kind of going around and showing what we're doing for the 40th anniversary celebration.
It's going to be a lot of fun.
Yes.
So be prepared for that coming up. And other than that, that's our show today.
Thanks for joining us.
Yes, thank you once again.
Make sure to like, subscribe, and share this podcast. Remember, we are on Thursdays now at 3 p.m. Arizona time. So look for us next week. And for now, I'm Mark Beach.
I'm John Dotson, and thank you.
Thanks. Have a great day.